Hi everyone, it's Deepa here from New Zealand. I don't think I've made a video for probably the last year due to my house move, and I really haven't had a chance to do a great deal in relation to my trains because they were all packed up at the time that I left my last property, and I still don't have a layout at this point at the new property. However, just today on Facebook Marketplace I spotted that someone was selling this locomotive and these wagons for what I thought was a very reasonable price of 40 New Zealand dollars, which is about £20 in the UK. And so I made contact and purchased them for $40, and I brought them home, and I've decided to see if this loco will run. Some of you may be familiar with these early trying diesels. They're in a sort of American type of format, I guess, made for the transcontinental range. Unusually for one of these, and I'm not sure if you can see this easily, but the lining on the front of the loco, sometimes referred to as the whiskers, are not actually too bad when you consider that this is a model probably from the 1950s or probably 1960s, I suspect, actually. And so I think that in itself makes this loco worth salvaging in some way if possible. So I'm going to have a try at seeing if applying power does anything to this. The chap I bought it from said that it was his father's, and as far as he knew, it had been packed up probably 20 or 30 years ago and never used since. They couldn't find a transformer to give it a try, so I bought it as it is. So I'm going to turn the loco upside down, and we're going to see if applying power does anything for a start. So here's the loco on my little cradle, and I'm going to see what happens when I apply power from this trusty Triang P15 power unit, which reassuringly has had OK applied to it, but from a previous owner. And in fact it is okay and runs perfectly well as far as I can tell. I certainly haven't had any shocks from it at this stage, so that's reassuring. So what I'm going to do is just have a look here, and I can see on the powered bogie that the first problem is that these metal contacts, which are supposed to collect power from the track through the wheels and then into the motor, are in fact not placed correctly. In fact, they've come off from being in contact with this set of wheels on this side. So the first thing I'm going to do is just to turn that around. So here's the solution to the problem for the moment. The contacts are now in the correct position. By the way, I'm not a professional YouTuber, so I don't have a stand or anything very sophisticated to hold my phone. Therefore, I'm going to see if I can make this work using my trusty Triang Hornby wheel cleaning brush, which I've had for a number of years, and that's powered by the transformer here, which I showed you earlier. So let's see what happens if power is applied to the wheels and see if that actually causes anything to occur. There's a bit of a spark, which is always encouraging, but other than that, I want a bit of smoke, which tells me that something's up. I might try using this set of wires instead and see what happens. So I'm just going to give that a try now. I might be able to tuck one of these in here, and that's causing no response really, and my transformer hasn't cut out to tell me that there's something bad happening. I'll try going from here to here and see what happens. No, still nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the motor bogie out, and I'm then going to have a closer look at it. So for those of you who are familiar with these sorts of locomotives, you'll note that there are two screws which hold the roof of the locomotive in position. So I'm just going to unscrew those, remove the roof, and that will reveal the the power bogie retaining screw. So having removed the roof, I can now see the motor bogie retaining, I think it's actually a bolt rather than a screw, and that can be released quite easily. In fact, it's rather loose. So that tells me someone possibly has had a little try at removing this. And that just comes out just like that. And once you've done that, the bogie itself lifts, well, the body lifts away from the bogie, I guess, really. And then we can see that there are some wires which are connecting the headlamp unit. Now there is a suspiciously large lump of what appears to be solder in the area of the light fitting, and that tells me that someone's probably had a little bit of a play around with that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo both the wires from the loco end. Sorry if you can't see this very well, it's just my lack of... oh, hello. So, something interesting has happened, which has happened previously to me, and that is that a wire has broken loose from where it was soldered to. And that's relatively common with old solder, I've discovered. This also looks like it's had some soldering work done to it at some stage. Those two elements aren't particularly crucial, given that we're after a running motor bogie for a start. It certainly looks complete as far as I can tell. And I think it even has the various suppressors and other bits and pieces that these things were fitted with. So it'll be just a matter of whether we can get it to power up. So I'm just going to have a try at getting power to it. So here's the motor bogie, and what I'm going to do is apply power to both of these terminals here, which are the ends of the brushes, the top ends of the brushes. And my transformer has just popped up its cutout, which tells me that there's a short circuit somewhere. Now, I have had problems of this nature in the past where people have taken the wheels out and then put them in the incorrect way around. There's supposed to be a set of insulated wheels on this side and non-insulated on the other side, and that may well be a problem. So that's the next thing I'm going to check, which I will do shortly. So I've put the bogie into the cradle, and I noticed, by the way, there's a rather sad looking coupler here, which I think I might just remove for the moment, just to get it out of the way. Oh, it looks like it's a bit tightly jammed in, possibly a little bit of rust or something holding that in place, but that will actually make life a little bit easier. So that's come out, and then I'm going to undo these two holding screws here. And normally these don't tend to cause any problem, I've discovered. They normally come out okay. They're made of brass, I think, so probably quite durable. And once those have been removed, that entire chassis plate can be lifted out, like so. And then, of course, you'll be able to see the wheels. Now, these wheels aren't exactly in great condition. Looks like there's a bit of rust on them for a start. But what I really want to check, right, and exactly as I suspected, these are the insulated wheels. You can see probably a plastic bush inside that one. So these are insulated, and this side there's no bush, and those are the uninsulated or non-insulated wheels. And it appears that someone has put them back in the wrong way around, because these were on the side, on this side, which is the side, of course, which collects power directly through the wheels, and this is the side where the pickups collect power. So that would explain the short circuit, I'm hoping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn those round, and then we'll try applying power again and see what happens. So what I actually discovered was that, in fact, this set of wheels here, which is the ones I removed on camera, they were the wrong way around. This set were, in fact, the correct way around. So the insulated side was here, whereas the insulated side was here on this set. So you can see how that would be a short circuit. So I haven't tried applying power, but I thought maybe I'll try the wheel cleaning brush this time and see what happens. And there's no response to that, which normally works quite nicely to bring life back to old locomotive. And there's definitely, oh hello, there's a spark there, which tells me that something's up. So what I might do is try applying power directly to the contacts again. So I've just connected one of the power wires to that collector there, And I'm going to try touching this wheel here to see if we can get some sort of result there. Doesn't appear to be much happening. On the contrary, something's happening. It's did make some efforts to turn. So that tells me that the wiring is probably correct at this point, and what is mostly going to be needed is probably a bit of servicing. So I'm just going to turn the bogie over and see if we can apply some oil to the various parts that need oiling and see if that improves things. So what I tend to do in these situations is generally to load up the felt pads. These are oil retaining pads with some oil. I'm using, so I don't know if you can see this, Singer sewing machine oil, which I'm told is as good as any for the purposes of model trains. If any of you have any other thoughts, please do feel free to add a comment in the comment section. And I tend to, I don't know if this is correct or not, but I do tend to load up those felt pads with a bit of oil just so that they have got the ability to seep through onto the worm, well, not onto the worms, onto the axle, I guess this is. And that seems to turn pretty well. I guess the next question is whether applying power will do anything there, whether I should apply some oil to the act directly into here and also into there, so that there is actually oil directly on those areas. So I might just go ahead and do that, maybe put some oil along these worms as well, so that those are freed up a little bit, and see if that makes any difference. So what I've just done off camera, and I did sort of think about showing this on camera, but I thought you might be getting a bit bored with every little step in detail. However, a few people did ask me about things like servicing over the years, so I thought, well, perhaps that I might just include some of it as I'm doing now. Now, I have found a handy tip if you're just doing this one-handed, and that is, of course, you can put this wire into there, because that will actually then put power into the body of the bogie. And so long as that stays there, you can put the other wire onto the brush from the insulated wheels. That's short-circuited, interestingly. So that tells me something's not right, even though it worked last time when I was contacting the wheels. So I do need to investigate that now. Can't exactly see what the problem is, but I just tried turning the worms a few times, just in case something's needed to be freed up a little. So I might just give that another try and see if we can get that to work. And lo and behold, the whole unit is turning quite well. It's a bit noisy. Also, some little flicks of the coating on the armature on the poles has also flicked off, which tells me the armature's obviously a bit on the old side. However, it looks like this bogie now does work. So the next question is whether, if I apply power to the underside, in other words to the wheels, whether that'll work, because those wheels didn't look very clean. So having looked at the underside, I'm just going to try and apply power using the track cleaning brush. Sorry, I keep calling it the track cleaning brush. It's the wheel cleaning brush, which has got plus and minus on two different parts of it, with a gap in the middle of that so it doesn't short circuit. So nothing's happening. However, I've just noticed here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but this pickup is actually not contacting the driving wheel, this wheel here. One of them is making contact, but I suspect that the spring needs adjusting, so I'm going to give that a try next. So what I've done is I've removed the spring, which just comes out very easily, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a tweak to enable that to perhaps put a bit more pressure on the sides of the insides of the wheels. So I've just made that adjustment and popped the clip back in, and I'm just going to see if one-handed I can actually manipulate this into the correct position, so you can see how these things go. And that just slides into where the wheel is. and that is now making much better contact, because if you move the wheels a little, you can see that there is actually, they're not losing contact with the power collector. So I think now we're on the track for hopefully applying power and seeing something happen. Aha! Now the advantage of this is that, of course, while applying power and testing the motor, I can also clean the wheels. So let's see how this works. There's a bit of sparking going on there, but the wheels are cleaning up. So looks like that's actually running quite well now. I probably will also oil maybe in between the wheels here and here, because that will allow some extra oil to just get onto those bearings, and that might make it run a bit smoother as well. But it looks like now that loco will run. I'm going to have to solder up the wires to connect up the lights, which are not a huge issue. And then I'm going to also have to find a cow catcher, which these are the ones that tend to get lost. Here's the original on the non-driving end, and that clearly is not replicated here, where there is none. So that will be another issue as well. But I might come back to that. If you have any comments or thoughts on this, please do, as I said before, leave a comment. And I'd just like to thank everyone for, as the Americans say, hanging in there while I was on hiatus with trying to get a house move done, and of course dismantling all the model trains and packing them up and so on. But hopefully I'll be back now with a few more videos for you. Certainly if you like this one, please do hit the like button, and also if you haven't subscribed to this channel, it looks like I've got 100 subscribers, and quite a number of those were while there were no new videos being produced. So I'd like to thank you all for holding on and watching these videos. It's definitely an amateur effort on my part. I'm not after the YouTube dollars. It's more like a bit of fun for me, really. So please do leave comments and any suggestions you may have for future videos as well. I might chase this particular locomotive up a bit further in relation to videos, and just make sure that you get a bit of a follow-up on how it actually eventuates. So we'll take it from there. Thanks again, everyone, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.